Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 53 units of real estate and help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So I'm about to close on my 53rd unit, all cash, here in about 10 days. So I kind of want to just share what I'm doing to prepare for my closing. So because this is a cash purchase, I don't have to deal with a lender right now because I'm looking to buy all cash at a discount and then do a cash out refinance after I've closed and after I've met the minimum seasoning period, to look at the new appraised value of about 3 to 6 months. So I engaged multiple lenders and I'm hoping to work with Convoy Home Loans because they have three options. They have a 0-month seasoning, they have a 3-month seasoning, and they have a 6-month seasoning. So what seasoning means is that if I bought something for $100,000, but in reality it's worth $200,000, and I just bought it so well, I bought at such a discount because I offered cash, because I made aggressive offers, right, which is the case of my new build, they will honor the new value of the property, right? So a 0-month seasoning means that you don't need any seasoning and they'll just honor it. Like you bought for 100, the next day you can refinance it at 200. A 3-month seasoning is that if you refinance this loan before 3 months, they'll only honor the purchase price, whatever is less. So whatever is less between the appraised value and the purchase price. So in my case, it's a purchase price. That's what they will honor in terms of the cash out refinance. I think they call this a delayed financing. And there is 6-month seasoning, which means that you have to own the property for 6 months before you can do a refinance as well. So Convoy gave me like kind of high level numbers. Like it's basically that he quoted me between like mid 6s to upper 6s. And the seasoning, he said that, well, obviously if you have 0 or less than 3 months of seasoning, you're gonna have the highest interest rate. If you do 3 months of seasoning, you're gonna have a better interest rate. And if you have 6 months of seasoning, you'll have the best interest rate. So it's just a matter of how fast do you want the velocity of money, right? So for me, I'm looking to I'm looking to close August 15th is my close date. And the next end of quarter, end of year sale for Lennar, for builders, is end of November. So for me, I need to get this rented out and then do my cash out refinance by November, early November. So that's roughly about 3 months if I'm pushing it, right? So with that in mind, like if I want to look to buy, I have to do either no month seasoning or at best case a 3-month seasoning, right? And right now it takes about 30 to 45 days to close a loan. So you can plan it ahead. If you want exactly 3 months of seasoning, you have to start your loan process 45 days before to hit that deadline. So I pulled my money November 15th. And at that point, before even November 15th, I'm looking at deals already and making offers ready, because a lot of times it takes like 3 weeks to close. So, basically get a property under contract and then wait like for my money to come and then buy the next one cash, right? So, with cash purchases, I'm not dealing with lenders out the gate. I'm dealing with lenders as a refinance. So it's like less pressure. But what you have to do is you have to start moving your money. So like me and my wife, we're moving our money and transferring it into our business account, which owns the property. Because, when you own LLCs, you need a business account. You have to keep your personal and business expenses separate. So we're starting to transfer our money over to that business account. And what people don't realize is that, you can do, external transfers, but sometimes it takes a few days to get there, right? Like you have to send the money and they have daily limits, right? Like, and each bank is different. Some banks, your daily limit is $50,000. Some banks, your daily limit is $150,000. So you have to just log into the app and see how long it takes. And a lot of times too, banks have to establish connections with each other. So if I go from like Wells Fargo to Chase, sometimes Wells Fargo wants to send test money over to Chase, and they'll have you input that money in to validate what it is. So they'll say, okay, we made 2 little deposits. One could be 5 cents, one could be 17 cents. And you have to validate that with Wells Fargo to make sure they're communicating correctly, right? And that may take a few days, because when you initiate it, it may take 1 to 2 business days for those deposits to be sent. And then you have to then validate it. And at that point, you're now restricted by your daily limits. So because of that, like Christine and I, we're just moving our money proactively because we have different banks, right? We're moving it into our business account. So, like one bank that we use, they take about, 2 business days to process it. So if you start on Friday night, Saturday, Sunday doesn't count. They're not business days. And then, Monday, Tuesday. So best case, you initiate on Friday, it'll be on there Tuesday. So why I share this is because you have to start moving your money into the account, because it may take longer than you expect, right? So like for us, we're closing on the 15th, and I'm hoping by the 6th or 7th, all of our money's in the account. So we have about a 7-day cushion. And keep in mind, you have to wire the money before closing sometimes. So if you're closing on the 15th, you might have to wire the money on the 12th. So you have to start moving your money into that right account. And like you said, it takes a few days. There's daily limits, unless you do a wire money. But if you wire money, it costs more money, right, to do that. So it could be like, what, it's not much, but like $30 to wire, do multiple wires, from Christine's account, my account. So basically that's what you want to proactively just start transferring money over and over and over. Or you can write checks to your business account and then basically do the mobile deposit. But those have holds, those have delays too, right? So just be ahead of the curve. The next thing you want to do is you want to engage your insurance. So with all cash deals, you don't actually need insurance, but because it's all cash, like, you have more to lose. So you get your insurance quotes. So for me, I've been using Steadily to get a quote. It's pretty easy. Basically you just put in your address, and then they'll reach out to you with a quote. But then what people don't know is you can like tweak that quote however you want. So like for me, because I'm more seasoned, I have more cash reserves. I typically do a $5,000 to $10,000 deductible. So it's higher cost if you have to have a catastrophe, but it does lower your rate. So like for me, I've been investing in real estate for like 7-8 years, and I haven't used my insurance. But for me, insurance is only for like total loss. So like if the house burns down, if a tornado hits it, if a hurricane wipes it out, then you pay your $10K deductible, and then you get your insurance. But for me, I'm kind of like have a slightly negative view towards insurance. Like, you pay them, and then when you need them the most, they try to skip out on it, right? Like, look at all the hurricanes in Texas and Florida. When you need them the most, they're not there to help, or they're trying to like blame someone else. So like for me, I only use insurance for like really, really big issues, because a lot of times, like, if you have a $10,000 deductible, and the fix, like, at a plumbing issue in my apartment, if it costs $8,000 to fix, I'm like, well, what's the point of making an insurance claim? And then when I renew insurance for the next few years, they're just gonna jack up my premium, so it's like not even worth it, right? So you're almost incentivized to like not use your insurance. It's just like people have car insurance, and you get in a small accident, they settle it with cash, because then if we both make claims, then our insurance premiums will go up, which will cost more than repair, right? So it's kind of the same concept. So like for me, I always ask for a $5K deductible and a $10K deductible, and the property is like stabilized. You could probably do the $10K, assuming you have the reserves. But a lot of times it may not be that much significant of a savings. It could be like $100 a month, or sorry, a year. So you have to weigh your pros and cons. So for me, I've just been pushing everything to like a $10K deductible, because like I said, I don't intend to use my insurance unless I have a total loss. Otherwise, like, I would cover the cost. That's why I have large reserves, right? So in the beginning, I had really, really good insurance, like the best insurance ever, to the point where I was going to extreme. Like, I remember I was paying like $30,000 a year for my insurance for my 26 unit apartment complex for the best replacement cost insurance through Travelers. And what I realized was like, well, if my 26 unit burned down to the ground, would I want to deal with doing new development and rebuilding an A-class apartment? Probably not. I'd rather just take the money, pay off my loan, and then take that money and go buy somewhere else. So once I realized that, I was just like, why am I paying $30,000 a year for this insurance when I don't even want to rebuild there? Because that's stressful for me to have to like rebuild. It takes like 3 years to rebuild it, go through permits, go through architects, go through hiccups, and you're building an A-class apartment complex, and it's just a lot of work that I don't want to deal with. So for me, I was just like, just give me the money. I'll take the money and go buy something somewhere else, right? Because maybe, that area that I bought in isn't good anymore. So like, I want to move my money where it is good. So once I thought about that, I was like, you know what? Why am I paying $30,000? Then I got a quote for a different, cheaper insurance. It's not replacement cost; it's actual cash value, and ended up doing like I think it ends up costing like $8,500. So I went from like $30,000 to $8,500, which is like insane. But they do annual inspections, and they make me repair a lot of things. But even that, like the repairs at most is $5,000. So like even then, like I'm paying $14,000 with repairs to my property versus $30,000, and I'm not getting any repairs to my property. So like it's half the cost, and I'm repairing my property. So basically get your insurance quotes in order. Go to your multiplays, get 3 or 4 quotes. For me right now, Steadly's been the best so far. So I've been using them. So get that ready. It's pretty fast to bind. And then from there, You want to start engaging your exit strategy with your cash out refinance lender. So I reached out to 5 lenders already. So I reached out to Convoy, Quickline, Velocity, Easy Street Capital, and there's one more I can't remember off the top of my head. But basically, I asked, hey, I'm looking to do cash out refinance. What's your seasoning period? What's your prepay? And what's your interest rate? So basically, I got all of them. And how much cash out refinance do you allow to the max? So most cash out refinance is about 75%. I have one that does 80%. But typically, if you're doing 80% cash out refinance, your interest rate's going to be higher. And then what's your seasoning period? So for me, I want something that's less than 3 months seasoning, or at most 3 months. And then you want to see the interest rate at that point, right? So some lenders, they'll be like, if you do a 3-month seasoning, you can do 70% cash out refinance. If you do a 6-month seasoning, you get 75%. I have some lenders saying with less than 3 months of seasoning, you can do 70%. If it's more than 3 months, you can do up to 80%. I have another lender saying 75%. It just depends, right? And then you look at your debt service coverage ratio. So you can give the lenders, okay, this is what my rents are going to be. Let's say it's $2,100. This is my property tax is about $100 a month. My insurance is $100 a month. My HOA is $30 a month. And they're going to calculate your debt service coverage ratio. It doesn't factor in property management. And then from there, they'll say, okay, like we can do this much loan, right? So for me, I want to get that ready, right? Because I'm on a tight window, especially if I want to recycle my capital and buy again in, basically early to end of November, right? Because you want to strike when the deals come. So from there, the only limiting step now is like getting my property rented out. So I already told my property manager, hey, like this is what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to buy this cash. I have a lender lined up. I'm going to pull up my money and go buy another property, and you'll get more commission and you have another tenant. So the faster you rent out my property and the higher rents you can get, the more money I can pull out, the more real estate I can buy. And then she was like, oh, I'm super motivated to rent out your property now. But like I said, hopefully, she said in the past, like whatever property was in that neighborhood, she rented out, like she had a lease signed within like a week or two. But I'm hoping for that, but I'm okay waiting. Like I have 3 months to do this, right? So the faster she does it, the better for me. So that's really what I've been telling her. And then the next thing you do is like keep in touch with your title, right? Because you basically need to like do any documents they have, whether I DocuSign it, if you have to do your home inspection, coordinate with your home inspector. So like for me, I did one for my new build in case he catches something. And then it's pretty fast. They usually can inspect the property within 2-3 day notice. So my home inspector just did his report and has it in my email. So basically you want to get all your ducks in a row, and then just sign your documents and then just wire the money, and that's it, right? So anyways, just wanted to share what you need to do as you prepare for closing. If you want to join my mentorship program, or you want one-on-one coaching, or you want to send me an email, click on my link tree down below. It has links to all the above. Otherwise, let me know what questions you have, what comments you have. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to do a numbers breakdown of my property of an Excel spreadsheet on me. It's next to me so that you can see it. But otherwise, hope to see you next one. Thank you.